Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I think I wanted a chance, and I haven't had a chance to do it, to come down and talk about the Democrat bill that's called the Consumer First Energy Act. And we go through this same thing over and over again, and we have an energy bill that has no energy in it. I said this on the floor last December. We keep talking about energy, and every time we try to expand energy, try to expand the supply, it dies right down party lines. The Consumer First Energy Act does nothing to increase access to America's extensive oil and natural gas reserves, does nothing to promote nuclear energy, does nothing to increase our refining capacity, something I've been trying to do for a long period of time, nothing for electricity generation or transmission, and nothing for clean coal technology. Instead, this act increases taxes by $17 billion on America's oil and gas producers, which means you're going to be paying more at the pumps. That's going to be passed on. We know that. And it increases government bureaucracy. The cornerstone of the bill establishes criminal penalties of up to $5 million and 5 years in prison if a fuel supplier sells his product at an unconscionably excessive price. But the agency responsible for its enforcement, the Federal Trade Commission, says that this legislation is unnecessary and even counterproductive. FTC Commissioner William Kovacic told Congress just recently, and this is a quote, says, "My intuition is that it would create hesitation in the response to shortages, and that might tend to exacerbate rather than to mitigate shortages." In addition, the FTC's opposition price gouging investigations are nothing new. They've been occurring for decades, with each reaching out in the same conclusion. The Investor's Business Daily, in just last month, had an editorial where, and I'm quoting now, it says, "Senators also want to impose steep penalties on price gouging, despite the fact that some 17 separate studies have found it does not exist. The plan amounts to little more than an attempt to impose price controls, a socialist tool dressed up in a populist garb." Democrats hailed their new measure as an attack on the root causes of high gas prices. That's one of the more laughable comments to emerge from the Senate in some time. That was the Investor's Business Daily. That was a quote. Most recently, in the aftermath of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, the FTC issued another report after an extensive investigation into price gouging. Once again, in the same conclusion. The FTC found, quote, "no evidence to suggest that refiners manipulated prices through any means. No evidence to suggest that oil companies reduced inventory to increase or manipulate prices or exacerbate the effects of the price." Additionally, Bill Richardson, former Secretary of Energy for the Clinton administration, when asked last year in a Democrat presidential debate if oil companies are price gouging the American consumer, bluntly answered, "no, they are not." Price gouging legislation is a solution in search of a problem. And it's also, it's just more of the class warfare. If they want to blame somebody, they want to blame oil companies, the people who are actually plowing back more than 100% of profits into exploration at the present time. The federal law already bars companies from colluding to fix prices, and the federal government currently has all the legal tools necessary to address price gouging. According to the Congressional Research Service, at least 30 states have laws that prohibit gouging, excessive price increases, or unconscionable pricing. Other states may also exercise authority under general deceptive trade practice laws, depending on the nature of the state law and the specific circumstances in which price increases occur. So knowing what we do about price gouging, this provision is repetitive, unnecessary, and potentially counterproductive. This could have the effect of increasing the price at the pumps. The other major component of the Democrats' energy bill reinstates windfall profit tax. The Democrats want to impose a windfall profits tax despite the fact that we had this same tax almost 30 years ago and the results were predictable and harmful. Again, it's just more class warfare. In 1980, under President Jimmy Carter, Congress imposed an excise levy on domestic oil production called a crude oil windfall profits tax. According to a 1990 report by the Nonpartisan Congressional Research Service, the results of the Carter windfall profit tax were very counterproductive. Quoting from that report, the windfall profits tax reduced domestic oil production between 3 and 6% and increased oil imports from between 8 and 16%. This made the United States more dependent upon foreign oil. This is what happened last time. We're supposed to learn from our experiences.